Hello, it's me, EJ, and as promised, I'm gonna be doing more videos this year to keep you guys connected to what it is that I'm doing, and to let you know about the amazing work that my clients are doing as well. So it's been like a week, probably a little over a week since I last did a video, and I know since then it was the anniversary of the Haiti earthquake, MLK Day, and for me personally, a loss of a close family member. So these days has been very reflective moments for me, and helped me to tap into my motivations that allow me to keep doing what I'm doing, and on days when I'm kind of like down, I just kind of perk back up and just kind of remember why it is that I'm doing what I'm doing. And so I wrote down a few notes to kind of keep me on track. And so okay, all right, so today is an interesting day because it's a snow day in Atlanta. I live in Atlanta. And so today there's a lot of snow, and I think I went outside, I played a little bit, I took some pictures, I took some videos, and you can check them out. I'm on Instagram, EJ Dupervil, and you'll be able to see those pictures and those videos. So Off the Ground Solutions, a company that works a lot with diasporas who are working to do work in their home country, whether they or not they've already started or they have started but need to make it more effective, the initiatives that they're working with. And so Off the Ground Solutions, we had a promotional week in where we offer free consultations for those people who fall into those categories. And so it was really good. It was good. We had a good amount of people who really took advantage of the opportunity. And so I just wanted to share some takeaways. So in my different conversations with people who are working to do initiatives, one thing that, as far as advice that I was sharing a lot, was really supply the demand. Supply the demand, supply the demand, supply the demand. And so what that means, supply the demand, what it is basically saying is, if you're thinking about doing something, make sure that the demand is there. So if you're going into a country, don't just go in there without doing research and learning about what the needs are, because in the end, you're not doing this for yourself. You're doing it for a group of people that stand to benefit of the work that you're doing. So make sure that you are doing your work. As I mentioned before, starting a company, a nonprofit, it's a lot of work, and I compared it a lot to like getting married. It could be a lifetime commitment, and you're just going to be associated with it for a while, for maybe even forever. You're going to become the face. And so when you're making so much of a commitment, you want to make sure that you are doing your homework on there, and that you are actually bringing something that is needed, and you doing that makes what you are doing more successful because the need is there. So in supplying the demand, there's three things that you really need to know. Three things. Sorry, I'm flipping and fumbling words, but yeah, three things that you really need to know. One thing, identify what the demand is. So fact finding, speaking to locals on the ground and whatnot, to learn about what it is, because you could go and have an idea like, oh, I want to do this because you saw something that inspired you, and you think there's this need there for it. But before you take that huge step, before you make that commitment, before you ask, will you marry me, learn more about what it is that you plan to do. So go there, or speak to, if you cannot go there, speak to people that are there, and just kind of bounce ideas and about what it is that you're trying to do, and be very open-minded, and take in all the feedback that they're giving you. Don't become offensive. Everything that they're sharing with you, it is going to help in one way or another. So always be open in this process, and make yourself very vulnerable, and be very clear about what it is that you are doing, because the clearer you are, the more concise the feedback can be, and the more concise you structuring whatever it is that you're structuring can also be. So we know with greater focus, the better impact that you will be able to have. And so I just said know what the demand is, and second thing is know that you can supply the demand. So once you know what the demand is, make sure that it's something that you can actually do. Make sure you have the skills, the network, the financial resources, the hustle to actually supply what it is that you're going to need to have in order to be successful doing what it is that you're doing. And so that's a very critical step, and that's a very like you have to be, I guess, vulnerable with yourself and be like, I know they need this, but I don't think I could do it. And that might hurt a little bit, but that shows that you understand the importance of what it is that you're doing and the impact that you can make. So not knowing what you're doing could make a negative impact. And so it's best to, if you can't do it, just leave it alone and create the space for someone else who knows how to do it to do it. Or you could just work with somebody who is who's doing that work, and you could just work and support that, instead of being the lead on that when you don't necessarily have the skills, the network, or you're not willing to do the hustle work in order to supply that demand. And third, so once you know what the demand is, once you know you can supply that demand, the third thing is to structure the supply in a way that is effective. So you want to make sure when you're structuring whatever it is that you are structuring, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit, that you are structuring it in a way that is as effective as possible, because the more effective it is, the less frustration that you will have. Frustration is going to happen. There's no way to go around it, but at least you have done the first part of it, which is basically attempting to make it as effective as possible. And when you're making it as effective as possible, whenever you see a kink, a problem, that you're always updating it to make it as effective as possible. So you don't just stay stagnant. You're always learning, you're always growing, you're keeping up with literature to making sure it's remaining as effective as possible. So a second thing that came up a lot during the calls that we had during the promotions was disrupting. So disrupting, for those who don't know what that means in the field, is basically bringing transformative change, whether it's against a high level of corruption, injustice, inequality. You want to go and you want to disrupt. You want to change it. You want to make it go in the right direction. And so normally this is good. This is very good in those cases that I mentioned where, equality, where there's a high level of injustice, in those things that call for disruption. And I think we all would agree that disruption is the best way to go about it. However, it's very important that when you want to disrupt something, that the situation qualifies for disruption. And so there's a lot of times that we go into a certain space and we feel that there is a need for disruption without really analyzing the work that has been done in that space. So it's very important to make sure that there aren't items or initiatives or projects that you can support, because a lot of times there are people doing the work, however they just need more support. And so when you come in and you disrupt something that was going well, or that just needed more support, more PR, more visibility, you end up kind of undoing what you were in fact working to accomplish. So it's very important to know when to disrupt and when to support. And so that was important to mention. Um, if you want to disrupt, it's very important if you analyze a situation and you're like, this requires disruption. It's very important that you are going to be there because, as I mentioned, off the ground solution, we work with a lot of diasporas. So that this is people who live in the U.S. and they want to, in the U.S. or elsewhere, and they want to re-engage with their home countries. So if you're going to engage at a level of disruption, it's very important that you are actually going to be there to disrupt and to take all the responsibilities with everything that comes with disruption. So if you are not sure that you are going to be there, because some initiatives doesn't require you as much to be in that country most of the time or in that space that often. But disruption, that is an intense level that you are coming at. And so if you decide to disrupt, it's very important that you understand that your presence is going to be needed there to follow through and to bring about the transformative change that you are working to accomplish. And so those were the two things I really wanted to highlight. I'm gonna try and keep my videos between 10 to 15 minutes and have them once a week. So hopefully this information was helpful to those who are thinking about starting an organization, or whether it's for profit or nonprofit, or whether or not you've already started and just probably want to just re-examine some things with your practices and your approaches. And so it's EJ, and I'm happy to assist. I'm always, you can always reach me at Off the Ground Solutions, OTG Solutions LLC, and I'll be more than happy to provide any type of support that I can. All right, bye bye.